Hello everybody, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. Today's episode, I just want to cover some of the giants that we have growing in the backyard here. And those are going to be our sunflowers and our tomatoes. Just to give you guys an idea of how we grew them so large. And also, I just wanted to take a chance to really appreciate these plants that we have growing in our backyard here. First off, we'll take a quick peek at the tomatoes that we're growing. These specific ones right here, the tallest ones I have, are Rutgers tomatoes. These are indeterminate, I would say a medium-sized tomato that these produce. But what's really cool is this is a super sweet 100. So what you would call a cherry tomato. You know, these are tiny little tomatoes. But this vine here is also about 9 feet tall, along with the Rutgers tomato. So even a smaller tomato like this can be grown quite large. I'll talk about how I grow them so tall after we take a quick look at the sunflowers. Here are the sunflowers. We've got an entire row right there, and then we've got more of them right over here. So these ones, this group of them is the largest. We had one that topped out at just about 14 feet. To be fair, let's just say 13 feet for the record. Right here, just huge sunflower. I can't even, it is way up there. But the biggest sunflower head we have so far is this one. And it is really big. It's about twice the size of my hand, and that one is going to be so great to get some harvest off of. We'll probably also store some of the seeds so I can grow that one next year, because this is the largest sunflower head that we've got. So I'll collect off the largest and the tallest sunflowers each season. Again, just to illustrate the size of this sunflower head right here. It's so big. I absolutely love growing these mammoth sunflowers in our backyard because it's just a spectacle that has to be seen. Most people don't really get the chance to grow giant sunflowers, so that's why our first year on this property here, I just absolutely had to. Let's take a look down by the stalks. The stalks, I mean, this is pretty much like a tree down here. Like, I can just barely grasp around the entire thing with my hand. See, I can't even touch my thumb around it. Huge stalks too. Like, these are like trees, like I said. We even had a pretty bad storm last weekend where we might have had like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. And in fact, there was a couple of tornado touchdowns on the county south of us. So for these to withstand that high of a wind force, I was also really impressed with. So if you've never grown mammoth sunflowers before, I definitely suggest to give it a go because it's a lot of fun to grow in the backyard. All right, so back to the tomatoes. The easiest way to get them to grow this tall is to do a single stem method. I've got to do a little bit more of support work with this one. It's on its way back down. But with this single stem method, all you have to do is continually prune off and take any suckers from that tomato plant. If you don't know how to spot suckers, I've got a video on it. Just check out my channel and search how to prune and trellis tomato plants. I'll show you exactly how to do that in that video. But basically what that does is it creates a single stem of growth, which is going to isolate the nutrient flow of that tomato plant into this fruit set right here. And instead of bushing out and creating a ton of foliage, you just create one tall stem. And if you want to, you can have fun with it and branch it out into several other different stems and let it grow crazy like I did with these purple Cherokees, or Cherokee purple tomatoes, down on the ground here as a fun little experiment. But otherwise, growing them like this is really cool. And I think it's one of the most efficient ways to grow the tomatoes because of space. Here in basically what I would call a single square foot, we can have an entire tomato plant. Now, no, you can't just fill up your whole bed with these because there's just not going to be enough nutrients to support them. But to reduce that space down to 1 square foot is going to make a huge difference when it comes to the potential output of a gardening area. I would say our gardening area is pretty big, but it's not huge. I mean, we've got an in-town lot, so we've only got just over a third of an acre. But with these 9 raised garden beds being filled up, every little bit of space that I can get to produce more produce for us and more veggies and food for the family, the better in my books. With that being said, though, you can grow a lot of veggies in these raised garden beds as well. And in fact, we're on our second crop of cabbage, broccoli, turnips, radishes, carrots, and onions as well. We planted onions and kohlrabi. So we're on a second crop of all that. We haven't had to buy produce in about 2 months now because we've been continually harvesting, and we've still got tomatoes producing, cucumbers producing, peppers, beans, corns, squash, and I think that covers it all. And cabbage. We still got a couple heads of cabbage. So just off of this, we've really been able to take our produce bill throughout the summertime and cut it down to almost nothing. So that's really all the time I got for today. Just wanted to show you guys those things real quick because I thought they were really, really incredible. Again, check out my channel for a how-to video on pruning and trellising your tomatoes, as well as how to harvest your sunflower heads over there to store the seeds or to roast the seeds for eating later on. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode. I wish you all a happy gardening adventure, and we'll see you in the next one.